Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Student Insider. This is part 2 for 21 life lessons for our past self. So this is episode 14. No.
13.
Episode 13.
And
so we hope you enjoyed the previous one. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to check it out before this one or after. Absolutely up to you. But yeah, that's on. You can just check out the show, previous episodes, and we can link it down below as well. We are recording this just after part 1, obviously. And
so you definitely should watch the other one because otherwise this might be a little confusing.
Yeah. We'd recommend you check it out before, but totally up to you. Let's just jump straight into it. We'd love if you could just rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Really appreciate it. And if you get any value out of this, feel free to if you have any questions, shoot us an email, be down below, or share with your friends, anything like that. But yeah.
Awesome. Here we are again. More questions, or no
points.
Questions. More points. I
keep saying questions.
I keep saying. Yeah. I just feel like asking questions.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of days.
Yeah. Well, we said about asking why 7 times.
Maybe I need to ask myself why 7 times. Why do I keep saying questions? Because I'm stupid. There we go. We found it out. Okay. Who's?
Go on. You go for it first.
It's me. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. This one's quite mild. But this is something that, seeing it as it was, in 21 things in 21 years, and I wanted to go back as a little bit further, because I think it's one of those things that still some people lack today, and that is just being polite. It sounds like it's very generic, I know. It's very, not, I guess, a really, productive thing to take. I guess it kind of is at the same time, because I definitely think that, I've always been brought up, my mum's been an absolute angel, and has always taught me to be polite in anything, because I really think that, even when you're in interviews and stuff, right, just trying to be polite and just, having that, just putting yourself below someone else, being humble, just for formal occasions, I think it really does go a long way. And I think that especially because this year in January I had to interview people for the first time, and I don't know if I've spoken about this, maybe I did. And, I feel like it's the people that were very rude weren't, sort of put into my good books. Because it's you're not necessarily someone I want to work with if you're going to be rude all the time,
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that, just being polite does take you a really long way. And I think that it leaves a longer lasting impression. It's oh, you're so polite. That was, very lovely, very respectful, basically. But I don't know what you think.
No, 100%. I think being polite and being respectful is so important. I think, the way I was brought up is that is a massive priority. You need to be nice to people. You need to say please, you need to say thank you. That's just fundamental. You've got to show respect to someone. That's just always if someone's if someone doesn't say thank you, I'm just well, come on, just a small amount of appreciation they have to put in there. I remember I worked with a client for a video, a promotional video for his business.
Okay.
And after I sent it to him, he just said, didn't say anything. He didn't say thank you. I was come on, man, seriously, I'm
it does just set you the wrong way.
I put that work in for you, and you didn't even say thank you. You say, my assistant's gonna call you to edit something. I'm excuse me,
the audacity.
I'm come on, man, just say thank you. When I'm speaking to other people, when I'm interacting with people, I want to be polite. I want to be respectful. That's just the way I was brought up by my family, by the people I was around. And if you're not going to do that, I'm going to be well, why? It's just it's such a small, easy thing to do, and has such a positive, lasting impact.
Yeah, exactly. I think your point there just highlighted it perfectly. The fact that this person that you made this video for was just very ungrateful. I guess it came across like that, just because it's oh, it's just your job. And I think a lot of fast food workers, I think definitely get the full brunt of this kind of people just not being polite and just being rude for no reason. It's you gotta remember everyone's human at the end of the day, right? If you hold the door open for someone, they say thank you. It's oh, you know what? It can really set someone's bad day in a good direction. I think just being polite and being nice, and even if someone's being rude to you, I think something that my granddad taught me is that you should never use very derogatory or even just swearing in general when you're arguing with people, because it just makes you come across as really stupid, and it's just you don't have the vocabulary to formulate your words in a way that's meaningful and impactful. You're just oh, you know what, F this, F that, it's, I think it just kind of all goes back to just being really polite, and there's just a good way to resolve those kind of situations.
Yeah, I think that's that could be it's such a small, easy thing, but this could probably be one of the most meaningful points that we brought up over these 2 episodes.
Because 100%.
It's fundamental life skills, and
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up because it was like 21 years.
Yeah,
you know. So, and this is something that I've been taught from when I was really younger.
That's
like,
a really
thankfully,
good
because
thing.
my mum is the best. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's so cool. Like, I didn't really think about early years when we're planning for this. I thought more like in recent years. So maybe
abstract.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe in the future I would have thought of something more.
No,
in
it's
the
like,
past,
you
but-
brought up some great points so
Yeah.
far. Honestly, like I'm already like processing these in the back of my head right now. It's
Yeah.
been great. So
Okay.
now,
Okay, so my point
you're,
6.
on you.
Okay, so I think I did in part 1. I did slightly touch up on it, but I said I was going to mention it later. So here it is. So
Here we
it's
go.
document more, post less, and so this means
Interesting.
like with things like, I don't know, in the world of social media and stuff, it's like people tend to like post stuff that they're doing, right? Like they've gone out and they're like, oh, they're putting a post on Instagram or whatever, and like documenting is cool, and I think I love documenting. Like I talked about journaling, that's a way of documenting. Filming stuff, like I like filming stuff. I like taking photos. Like filming,
Yeah.
photography is a big interest of mine, and I love that documenting part. But something that really annoys me is like, have you ever seen like when you've seen like a video of a concert, right? And then you see all these people with their phone recording.
Yes.
I'm like, this goes back to your point. Live in the moment. Like,
Yeah.
go for it.
100%.
Film something for like 30 seconds. I'll take a picture, but like filming the whole thing is like.
Yeah, I definitely see. I can see what you mean because like everyone's got like literally as soon as like I don't know like some big song comes on, literally you just see like I don't know, maybe there's like a big like camera that's like capturing the whole thing, right? And it's just like you just see a crowd of people and loads of little white specks for everyone's like flashlights being on to record this like thing, and it's like it's great. Like sure, like you know, I mean, I personally think that I would like to record more. As I said, like as you said, like no, like documenting things down, like you know. Like making notes of these, like taking pictures at like moments, but I think there's a limit, and it's like at the same time, you know, it's like a balance between those two principles of, you know, like live in the moment, but also, you know, like still documenting, like think about like the future,
Like
and,
wanting to remember that.
and remembering it,
Yeah.
like getting some sort of memorability, you know, and yeah, I definitely agree. So basically, what do you mean, like in that sense? Then obviously, instead of posting, what do you mean more like documentation?
So I'm
like
so
get
like-
like a shorter video, something that's more meaningful.
Yeah, something that's like, because you're not gonna, if you document everything for really long, you're never gonna go back and watch it all. But if you're more intentional with how much you're documenting and making it more meaningful,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you're more likely to go back to it, right? And the significant point I'm making here is that I don't know if it's true or not, but some people might only do social stuff to post it on social media. Like I remember hearing about it, they want that like a validation or whatever, and that it's just like you want to try avoiding getting into that trap. Like that's why I think taking some time off social media can be so beneficial,
Yeah,
because it's
100%.
like you're living in the moment. When you're going to do something, like you're not posting it online, you're just living in that moment. And yeah, go for it, document it, like take a picture of it, like take a video of it, like but you don't have to post it online.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I'm definitely one of those people that just absolutely never posts anything on Instagram. Like I'll rarely post if it's something like really monumentous that's happened, you know, like something that I think is like really like important. I like document online and show people like what I'm doing, you know. But yeah, this kind of reminds me again, like another example. I was in Fabric, which is a nightclub in London, and basically there's like 3 different rooms, and room 2 has the best music, and it's just like absolutely packed with people. It's full of people. But so you have like a big room with everyone, like the DJ where the DJ is, and there's like a little bit behind it. And because there were so many people, I just went around the back and just chilled and was like enjoying the music, like kind of at the front, but also like out of the way in like a good sense. So I was just having a great time, and there was these 2 girls there, like I assume they were freshers, and I'm not even kidding. Like, because they were like stood next to me like for a majority of the night. Like we were sort of up against. There's like a cage around the DJ, and I was like right up against it, like looking at everyone out like in front of me dancing. I was just like having a great time, very drunk. And these 2 girls, literally, I think they were recording, and were like on Snapchat, like taking like videos of everything for at least 90% of the time.
Jesus.
And it was like so obvious as well. Like it was something that I couldn't ignore. It was like Jesus Christ, like you're still going. Like it was insane, just how much like their like Snapchat stories must have been like 2 years long.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff they posted, it was just kind of like I was just like, oh, you know, I wish I could just I just wanted to say like just stop, like just enjoy it, like while you're here, like stop recording everything, you know. So it kind of brings me back to that, but I definitely agree. But luckily, this won't be a thing that I take away, because I think I'm quite good with.
Yeah. I think I'm quite good as well, but I feel like it was such an important point to make up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
To mention, because like I've seen people that do that, and I'm like, I just want to suggest it to like maybe just like, I don't want to just like go giving people around giving advice, because it might be maybe seem like a bit
pretentious, as I said before. Yeah,
but like, if that's why I think like, I've been not on social media for a while, for like the last 6 months, like not much time at all, and it's been interesting. Like it's been a very interesting experience, showing how much I do not really need it at all. Like I like doing photography, and I like posting that on my social media occasionally. Like saying when I upload a new YouTube video or when we release a podcast episode, like I like making like doing some posts there. But like it's good form of, say you want to like reach out to someone like on Twitter, like I don't know, like it's a good way to like maybe like just like I don't know, say we wanted a guest for the podcast, right? Social media is a very easy way to potentially make that happen, but just posting, like just try to avoid that, getting into that trap of posting and then like, oh, what are the likes, what are the followers, how's my page growing? Like
it's I think a lot of people, I mean especially people I know, are just absolutely obsessed with the attention that you can get from social media. And it'll drive you to the point of insanity where it's like I've seen like people like fully just destroy themselves, like just because they want to just have that influence on social media. And you know, like there was a time I went for my birthday actually with my mum and dad. We went into the Sky Garden in the walkie-talkie in London.
Oh yeah.
Right at the top, and we were just having a great time. Like no phones, like effectively. We took some pictures out there, obviously, but we weren't like sitting there like recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there was this group of girls on a table, and me, all my family members, like we all pointed out, and they were literally all sitting there, like on their phones, like not saying a word to each other, like 6 girls, just all sitting there looking at their phones. And then out of nowhere, like one of them was like, oh, let's take a photo. They took the photo, all like started smiling out of nowhere. As soon as the picture and like the video was done, smiles were dropped instantly, and then straight back on their phones, like not talking to each other. It was like hard to watch, honestly, because I was like, Jesus, like you come all the way up here just to like sit on your phones.
Yeah.
Like really.
Like I've heard of that before, and like I tried to like hope that's not real, but like the people actually, like it's no fault of their own, right? Like obviously they can take action to stop that, but like the algorithms, the way they're built, they're made to keep you hooked. But we can take action to stop that. We it's like it's something we can figure out. You know, like when I'm out with family, when I'm out with friends, like I don't know, say at a restaurant, I very rarely get on my phone and check it. Like unless like I don't know, it's like something to do with how I'm getting home or whatever. Like I keep that phone in my pocket.
That's how it should be. Like just keep notifications off. Like,
but like, yeah, exactly.
It is like a very addictive thing, and it's hard to get out of. And I think that's why like we emphasize it, and we had like a whole episode on it. It's like it's like, you know, how like to get out of like that sort of habit of being on your phone all the time. You know, because it is like a really big problem, and I think it's definitely emphasized in youth as well, because a big part of growing up is like making friends and wanting to be like the cool person, right? And if you give, especially like, you know, like young adults like access to that like this early, it can be so detrimental. Like I think there's a thing called like they mentioned it in The Social Dilemma. It was like Snapchat dysmorphia. It's where like really young girls were like getting like really bad like body dysmorphia because they didn't look like Snapchat filters, you know. And it's just like that kind of thing where you're just like, damn, like there really is a big problem.
And it's like, it really makes me think how, like we like young people, we have access to these like dopamine feeding devices. That, like,
100%. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be like I'm innocent. Like I do love getting a good hit off my phone every now and then. You know?
We all have it, right? But like if we take just a few actions, we can make our lives much more happier by minimizing things. Like my notifications are very minimal now. Like I have social media, I have accounts, don't have the apps on my phone. Like I very rarely log on onto the app. Like I would say I currently now spend the least time on social media that I ever have, and I am the most social person that I have been in my life.
That's one of the things I was going to ask actually, because I know that you've taken such big steps into sort of getting off of like the media platforms, but I mean, I personally, from an outside perspective, don't see you like you've got like no effects. Like you don't seem like really quiet or shy, or like, you know, like you don't talk to people. Like, I don't get that impression at all, you know. So
yeah, it really shows how social media isn't really social, you know.
Yeah,
and like
that's like such a thing that it reminds me of what Prince EA used to say, like in that one video.
Oh,
where he's
yeah.
like, they should call it anti-social media.
Yeah.
I
remember
good
that.
video. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like I haven't posted on YouTube in a while because I haven't been watching as much. Still been watching, and I haven't spent as much time on social media. But it's just like I've just been present, just like been taking a break from all that kind of content, kind of stuff. Just like
you're like
just been like living more in the moment. Like me and my sister were talking about trying like a week, like it was 1990 or something, like to see like what would it be.
Oh
like.
wow, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I guess like just from my experience today, like when I was on the train for here, I was on my phone. I think I was like on Netflix, and I was just like sort of reviewing my notes for this. And then I just remember like getting to like near the end of the stop, and I just sat and looked out the window, and I was like, wow, I really could have like, you know, taken that all in on the way here, and I just completely missed all of it because I was looking at my screen, and I was just like kind of upset about it, honestly. Like kind of in the like, because I was like, oh, there's probably so much like nice scenery I could have missed. I mean, I take the train all the time, but still, like I do enjoy it. What I normally do on the train is just put some music in and just enjoy like the views from the train.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like it's the learning lesson we have from realizing that. That's like the most crucial point.
Yeah, it's just you just have to. I think it's definitely just a matter of like, I guess it's like we're doing a sort of a bit of justice to it here by speaking about it, but I guess it's we can't get this message to everyone, you know. And I think in a time where we are so dependent on our phones, it's kind of inevitable that everyone's gonna be addicted to at some point, you know. Because I mean, think of TikTok for example, right? Like that's got to be like apps like that platform has absolutely like blew up like immensely, and you think like, what is TikTok? Like it is an entertainment platform. It is there solely for entertainment, and like you can imagine people spending hours on that, like hours just like scrolling through and just like instantly just keep looking and like. Yeah. It's just been like, it's just so unproductive. Like it's really bad.
Yeah, it's like I remember when TikTok was on the rise. I downloaded it, used it a few times. I was like, you know what, this is such a waste of time. Like I'm not benefiting from this really. So I deleted it and maybe installed it once again, deleted it, and haven't installed it ever again really. Like I've probably spent hardly any time on the platform because like what's the point of just going onto these new things for the sake of it? Well, because there's a trend. Like this goes back to critical thinking that I was talking about, and it's something I've been thinking about more recently. Is like, do I actually need this thing? Like, does it really provide me any value? Like, yeah,
no, I think because I remember I spoke about ages ago when you were like recommending taking that detox, and I completely like deleted my social media apps for a while. I ended up reinstalling Instagram after I had like that break. Felt a lot better afterwards, and I think after having that break, I'm now a lot more aware of the time I was spending on the app, and a lot more like. If I go on it, it will be very briefly, just to see what someone sent me, you know. Even if it's something funny, it's like, you know, I'm not actively going out of my way to like find it. It's just like someone sent something to me, and it's a good way of keeping those like relationships, you know. And then the same thing with Snapchat, got rid of it, and you know now I'm at the point where I have like Snapchat and I have Instagram, but that's mostly because friends, like I kind of require it for my friends, like. So my friends wanted me to use Snap Maps, for example, my flatmates, so that they could keep track of me and where I am in London. Yeah. But I've actually now, I realistically don't really need Snapchat now because I have Find My Phone, and you can use that to keep track of where people are. Yeah. So again, like I've got the app sitting there, but I rarely use it. Yeah. Like I don't use it at all. And the only thing I really use now is WhatsApp, and that's just because it's a very work-based thing for me. Being on a team, we've used WhatsApp as our like main platform to communicate. Which is like great, and I think WhatsApp's kind of one of those things where it's kind of hard to get distracted in WhatsApp. Yeah. It's like a very formal, professional looking.
It's like the reason I use WhatsApp mainly to communicate with people. Messaging, and the reason any messaging platform like that is optimal compared to Snapchat or Instagram is because you have messaging, no content. There's nothing to distract you. I think I mentioned this before on the podcast, but it's like when you're communicating with people, we can hear fireworks.
Yeah.
So with content, I think content and communication should be separate. Like.
Oh yeah.
100%, because that way there isn't the social media distraction when you're messaging friends, right? You're having that social part of communicating people, but you're not getting distracted by that content.
I'd be interested to see if like a group of researchers were to make two apps and give like one group a different app. So one that was like WhatsApp, and then another one that was like Instagram, and just see, because I mean, effectively, like both apps serve the same purpose, except that Instagram just has a lot more content on it. So it'd be interesting to see like the amount of screen time that like a group of people would spend on each app, knowing that there's one that's like a lot more addictive than the other. Because I mean, I'm not addicted to WhatsApp. I use it a lot, but that's solely like work related. So I think it'd be interesting to see. I don't know if you feel the same, but
yeah, it's like seeing how much your screen time increases, because like if you're messaging on Instagram, for example, there's distractions that keep coming up with content. You'd be like, oh, what's going on Insta? I noticed it. I was on LinkedIn the other day. I went to do something specific and I got completely distracted and realized 10 minutes later, wait, what? I came to do this and I'm just like, I was in the feed.
Yeah. It's. I think it is a big problem. So, but I guess like at the same time, like I mean, I'm now in a much better position in terms of like my screen time, thanks to you basically and your advice. With
pleasure.
Yeah, honestly, no, I appreciate it so much. It really has helped me so much, and you know, at the same time, it's like I don't feel like I've lost contact with anyone by deleting these apps. You know,
Yeah.
it's like just through WhatsApp alone, effectively, I'm able to maintain like probably like 80% of my relationships with people like that I can't see like in person, you know. So I wouldn't say that. I guess it's a bit. I mean, especially when I was like first going about this, I was like, you know, deleting Instagram and Snapchat seems very daunting because I feel like I'm going to lose friends. But I came out okay, so I'm sure everyone else will too.
Yeah, same with me. Like I was like before. I remember when I first tried a social media detox. I was in first year uni, and no, the first time was before I started uni, and I got to about 5 days and I just went straight back on social media. I was like, oh, I needed to post my content, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I can message friends on it, whatever. And maybe that was a bit of fear. Maybe it was a bit of not know what things would be like if I didn't take a step back and went off it. And I tried it again in first year at uni, and done it about a week. Went pretty well. I realised, you know what, I don't really need that much. Then not long after, maybe a couple of months or maybe like, I don't know, 6 months or whatever, done about 30 days. I was like, wow, really don't need this at all. And then like now I'm like at a point where I found a good balance. It's like I can download and go on it, I can post a few things, whatever, I can like some posts, interact, but I realise that most of my interaction with friends, with people, the social part doesn't come from the social media. Like I've in the past I've learned a lot from like YouTube videos and stuff, but like the positives of not having it outweigh the positives of having it for me personally. Like right now, like there's nothing stopping me logging back in and using it.
Yeah, I guess like
no, go on.
I guess like you know, you've still like you've restricted your access, but you've still kept it there just in case. And I think that's like the best way to go about it is like, again, like you were saying, if you make things harder to get to, you're less likely to do them, you know.
And this progress was like over years, right?
Yeah.
It's like I didn't realize it. Like looking back, I didn't know this would happen. But it's like slowly over time, I've made progress in the way I want to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it definitely shows as well, and I think it shows in people I know as well, because you know, you can definitely tell, like when you do, like when I'm doing group studies with people, you can see that, like sort of in the back of my like mind, I'm like, oh, you're on your phone again. It's been like 5 minutes. What's going on? And then whilst I'm still there, you know, working on whatever I need to get worked on. Yeah. So it's like I think it definitely does show in terms of productivity, like in people that I've sort of studied with anyway. I think it does definitely show.
100%.
Don't know if the results are the same, but like in terms of like actual, you know, does it have a negative effect? I couldn't tell you. There'd have to be some sort of study, but I can definitely see the distractions for people that have their notifications on and people that pick up their phone when there's like a noise. Yeah,
like because I have all notifications off apart from messages and calls.
Yeah.
That's about it. Like because I don't have much installed nowadays, because I don't actually need it. Like I don't have the notifications on. Like what I actually need is on. Like by turning it off, you realise you don't need it. Like I remember when I had, like when I had Instagram notifications and all that on. Like it is a distraction. Like I couldn't imagine like how like remember trying to think like years back how many notifications would come through on my phone a day and how that would make me just like go onto it because that's what they're designed to do. But we have the ability to turn them off. And
yeah, it's just about making that step though, because it's like
some people don't even know you can turn the notifications off, you know, like, unless they know about it.
Yeah.
I guess before maybe people didn't realise it, but now, I didn't know if it maybe a thing before you couldn't turn it off, but I know now you can.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like a good like analogy for it, because I'm just trying to think like, because like you step in but you can always step out, but it's like the exit's like obscured. It's like they're trying to distract you from it, you know. Yeah, maybe like a maze. You walk into the maze and then you lose your way out.
Yeah,
but you know it's there. You know, I guess I don't know. That's probably a bad analogy. But anyway, the next point. Let's do this.
Where did this point come from? Did that come from my document more post less?
I think so. Did you mention you've got no social media ones on there, do you?
No.
Oh, interesting.
That's
yeah,
interesting tangent.
Wow. That's big change. But okay, what should I do? Let's have a look. That's what I just did. Okay, this is another one that I learned being at uni. And it's basically you should always think about the impression that you leave on people, because I found that, you know, when I'm like making friends, or especially more in an academic setting, leaving a good impression behind in your first impression, or just, you know, just in general, it sort of links in with being polite as well, you know. It really does go a long way, you know, because it's like if you're nice to people, and, you know, just even being polite, like lecturers or stuff and those kind of things, for example, will be a lot more willing to help you, and they'll know you, they'll recognize you. So I guess it kind of links in as well, I guess, like as a double point, you know, just go out of your way to like speak to lecturers. I think I've mentioned this before, like, because it does do you, like, especially at uni, it does you the world of favors, like having those contacts and, you know, people that can get you that experience and can help guide you through uni, because it can be a bit of a jungle sometimes with like all the different things going on, you know. Yeah,
it's really like, just, it goes back to like putting yourself out there, you know, just like going
exactly
to like go and speak to them.
Yeah, I guess it kind of links in with the whole confidence thing I mentioned as well, you know. It's just like, it's so interconnected, all these points we have.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
like, it's kind of like networking in a way, like when you say you're going up to speak to a lecturer.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, some people, when they think of networking, they're like, oh, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn. Like, networking is speaking to the person. Like, just sending a connection invite is somewhat like spam, unless you have like it's just somewhat, unless you're like actually you want to like say something or whatever. If it's not, you're not actually, it's just a connection invite. It's just a number on the screen, right? But if you're going up to speak to someone at an event, at a meetup, whatever, there's something there. Like, you're just like introducing yourself. Like, it could amount to nothing, and that's fine, or it could amount to like just someone that you end up like having that, you just know them, whatever, like, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. There was like in first year, especially when I was to go to these like KCL organised. KCL is King's College London. I don't know if that's obvious at this point, but just in case, they would like host these networking events where they'd have like all these people from all these companies come in, and like you could speak to them, and all like my friends and everyone else that was there, that they'd all queue up to speak to these people, basically with their CVs in hand, like, give me a job, basically, which was just like, it was so difficult for me to sit there because I felt like I was doing something wrong, but I don't think I was, like, because I didn't want to go to these people just to be like, can you give me work? Like, because that is literally what 90% of the people in that room were doing. This was a big event as well. There was a lot of people, and like people literally just queuing up to ask like pointless questions and then asking about it, like what kind of roles are available, you know. And it's just like, that's not how you connect with people, and that's not how you make like authentic, meaningful connections, you know. Like, if you go there, show interest in them, the company, just don't ask about like the work. That can come later. Like, you need to establish that relationship first, because otherwise it's literally just an interview, you know. And
exactly.
There's so many students coming in and out, and it was just an absolute nightmare. So, but I went to a couple of these networking events, and the ones that were more chill and with less students, I found were a lot more enjoyable, and I made more meaningful connections.
I think 100% that's like the way to go about it. It's like you're 100% showing interest in the other person, showing interest in what they're doing or who they're working with, all that stuff, and like providing value in a way, not just like being like, yo, can I have a job? Just showing them interest, providing them value. Like,
it kind of sounds like a bit like a manipulative thing, I guess, if you're going about it that way. Because I mean, just don't go into like the networking things with an end goal of being like, I'm going to come out of here with an internship, because that's just not networking. I think the college just gives off a really twisted way of thinking about how you should be networking, because I don't think it's presented properly personally. To I mean, how I was taught when we were told to network, it's like getting connections with people so that you can find internships, but in reality it should be making connections with people so you have those connections in the future. Like, and it's more about like just making like these actual authentic relationships with people. I mean, even if it still stays professional, which is like majority what it will be if it's in like, you know, if it's like an actual networking thing. But yeah,
I think it's like there's something like around something in like ethics, or it's like you don't want to use that person as a means to an end.
Yeah, I think that's how they present it, like to us.
It's like it'd be more like, oh, you're going there just to meet people and maybe make connections, and that's it. And if it leads to something, that's great. But if it doesn't, not the end of the world.
Doesn't, yeah. And I think just a general thing as well is that people just love to talk about themselves. In general, most people love to talk about what they do and their interests. So if you show interest in it, that's what I would say. It's like a good thing to do. Like people love to talk about themselves. It sounds like really arrogant, but it literally is. Like, it's the truth. Yeah. Like people love to talk about themselves. So if you show interest in people, they'll show interest in you.
And that's like one of the biggest highlighted points in Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Is literally the biggest point is show interest in other people. Like the biggest.
That's like the main point.
Yeah, it refers to back that into the book. Again and again, and that's because like that is one of the biggest ways to build rapport in a relationship is like
Damn, so that point is apparently even like professionals in like this kind of like the like the social sphere are saying these kind of things as well. So I guess interesting.
Look, so you already know this stuff.
Honestly, it's just crazy. All right,
so
you're up.
Point. Yeah,
let's go.
Let's see. Okay, so my next point is I would say this is. Actually, I want to divert a bit from this point, and include it. But let's see. Okay, so this is more like to my earlier self, maybe a couple of years ago as well. And so, it's smart and efficient systems are a key part of productivity, giving us more time to do what we want and rest. And also, I want to say that we should try and spend, because I know myself, I've spent too much time setting up these systems to do stuff than actually doing the work. Like
right.
Like I spent, what is the best to-do list app that I can use? How can I set up my Notion in a newer way that will make it more efficient? But in reality, if we can get something simple and it works, and then just stick with it, and then actually use it to do the stuff, because we can get. I've seen this myself. I get into the loop of, what's the newest productivity app? What is the newest method? I could try it on paper. I could try it on this app. There's another new app. Let me try that. There's another note-taking app. Like. One, efficient systems they can be really optimal to get stuff done. Like we can set, like on my computer, for example, there's a something called auto hotkey, and it's like you can program clicking a specific key on the keyboard to write something for you. Like say there's something you write frequently. Like, I don't know, like say something you say in an email, like I don't know, many thanks, Alexandra, whatever. You can actually put that in like your signature on Outlook or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's an example of like something you can program to do that. And that's a small part, very specific small part of it, creating an efficient system. Because all these things that compound, of things that can save us time, will have a lasting effect. Meaning we have, we can be productive in a small amount of time, and then we have more time to rest or just do things that we enjoy. And and the big part of this which I'm adding on now, like that I mentioned, is that try and spend less time on setting up these systems. Like this is a big point for me 2 years ago. Like just stop spending time watching videos about how to set up a productivity system. Like just find something that works and stick with it and actually do the things that you want to do instead of trying to find the optimal way to do it. Like stop trying to find the most optimal way to set up your YouTube video ideas. Like just do the flipping thing. Like it's basically a form of procrastination. Like I'm kind of basically yelling at myself right now.
Yeah, I was going to say you're very passionate about this.
Like you wasted a lot of time doing this. Like how should I set up my calendar? Or should I do calendar blocking? Should I let me try this different version? Let me try this calendar app. Like just once you have something that works, just stick with it. I've had something that works for ages now. For like about 6 months I kind of realized this, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm not going to change anything now. It works. I use basically everything in Notion, Google Calendar. That's all I use for my quote-unquote productivity system. And I'm not going to change anything because it works. Like it's just about getting the stuff done, and it's a form of procrastination which we think is productive, but it's kind of just wasting time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't beat yourself too much up about it, to be honest, because without trying these methods, you don't necessarily know what one's like perfect
Yeah.
for you. And we've spoken before about like, you know, everyone's study methods and the way people memorize things and people take notes is going to be different. So if you don't try it, you'll never know, right? So I wouldn't beat yourself too much up about it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And at the same time, like, you know, like you figured out that Notion is, you know, and like Google Calendar, for example, like good things that work for you.
Yeah, and like,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, sorry. I'll just quickly say is like because I tried this different stuff over time. I know, for example, if Notion disappeared, I could figure something else that would work. And I guess that's kind of like a upside of me that I spent that time on these things. Is like I know, like, okay, if Notion disappeared one day, I know I could figure something else out to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you know, I am personally quite guilty of just being relatively unorganized in my scheduling and my planning. So like this is probably a really stupid way of thinking, but I just think that if you have like a week planned out and, you know, on Monday you have to do like so and so, and let's say you miss one of your like things on Monday because, you know, you did something or something happened or, you know, you procrastinated, anything, right? A lot of things can happen that will change your schedule, especially for you know, especially for the position that I'm in and the work that I do. It's very easy to get distracted with other things, you know, like I'll plot into my timetable. Let's just say like today I want to get this lecture done. Something with my project might come up, you know, and especially being a leadership, it's like if something goes wrong with anyone else, I have to then be responsible for it, you know. So it's like being on call at all times, basically, and it's very hard to stick to a schedule. And then you'll then basically on Tuesday, you then have everything to do on Tuesday plus the thing you do on Monday. So the way you put that in, you know, it's like I think that if I was to do every time I do scheduling, I do it day by day, and I wouldn't like plan out a week. And I guess I'm kind of guilty of being. I kind of like makes me think that I'm a bit unorganized in that sense. But you know, I've never had any trouble with deadlines or anything like that. I get things done. Like if I need to get it done, you know, I just kind of keep a mental note of things that need to get done, and then just sort of prioritize on the spot. Yeah. Is more of my method of doing things. It's not the best, but it works.
If it works,
it works. It
works. Like because everyone's method is different, and what works for them is different, obviously. And it's by trying different things you figure out. So obviously you got a version that works for you, and like.
But that's just in terms of scheduling.
Yeah. Scheduling, because obviously like everyone's system is different, and like I figured out mine that works best. Like I know, like I think, okay, what do I want to do this week, and then I plan day by day accordingly on that day. Like you know, or sometimes I might say, okay, I want to do this today, maybe do that on another day. But like it really depends on, you know, deadlines, what's coming up, what am I working on.
Yeah,
it really depends. But if you've got like a way. In your mind or on paper or on some app that you know that works, or even if you've got post-it notes, like once you figure it out, it's kind of if it's something that works, stick with it and just don't worry about trying to figure out the best thing. Like that upfront work of setting up that system is an upside because then it will save you time in the long run. But once you have something that works and you know it's efficient, like there's no point of trying to make things 5% faster if you're just because it's just a form of procrastination, you know.
Yeah, I guess so, but you know, again, like at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I think it's
yeah. Okay, cool. All right, your point now.
Let's do it. My points. Okay, we've done this one. All right. How many do we have more? I've got 2 points left.
We have done 6 and 7.
Have I not got enough points? Oh wait, one. I've got 9 points here, so this is going to be my. I think I might have missed a point.
Oh, it's right. I did an extra one last time, so we'll count that as.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, that was my point. So, I'm taking full credit for that. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
There we go. We saved the day.
I'm gonna leave that one for last. I think. What I've put here is kind of like my last two are a bit more of like a negative. And I don't want to end this recording on a negative, so I kind of feel bad. But I guess we've had like a good.
Are you putting 2 in one, or are you?
No. It'll be separate. But
okay.
My first one is basically. It kind of links in with the first one. Actually, I think I can probably do them together, to be honest. But that'll be like me out of.
Go on, just go for one
points.
If you want.
But basically, I just wrote down like know your limits, and you know it's kind of like contradictory in the fact that we just said like, you know about. You know, like being ambitious and always giving 100%, but I think at the same time there is like an aspect of realism and, you know, being realistic that you do need to add to things because, you know, if you've like procrastinated for weeks or you've been busy with something and you've got a deadline and you've only got like a couple of days to do it, you know, there's no point in stressing out about it. You just have to be realistic, and you know, at that point, that goal is not achievable. You know, like that kind of thing. And it is like a very negative way and like pessimistic, but I think at the same time it can be beneficial because it does save you a lot of stress if you know that something's not achievable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like through experience, you know, like you say, what your limits are.
Yeah.
And that can then help you when things come up again. Like, you know, like, it's like if you get burnt out by something, you know, okay, that's my limit. Like, I can't take on as much stuff or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, like especially like as you mentioned, like burnout. I think it's like a big thing. It's like, what is your capacity, you know? And like, you kind of have to experiment to find out what those limits are. But at the same time, once you know what the limits are, it's like it's okay to push them. But you know, at the same time, it's really hard to get like balance. I think between like being realistic and also wanting to be ambitious.
Yeah.
And it's a tough decision to make. It's like as you mentioned, like it's like one of those like tough like conversations that you don't want to have with yourself. You know, it's like, you know, you've got like a rising star wants to be a football player, you know, but you might have like family members being like, let's be realistic. You should probably go to school and study a bit more because you're unlikely to make it because it's just a difficult thing to get into being a footballer, right? You know, and it's like, it's difficult to have, but I think, you know, it really depends on which kind of, if you want to take the risk or not, I guess. It kind of comes down to.
Like 100%, like, I love basketball. I've been playing basketball for so many years, but I knew at a certain point I was not going to make it to the NBA. Like, I'm not tall enough, not strong enough.
You're really tall though. That surprises me.
Yeah, like I could. The average person in the NBA is 6'7".
Wow,
much taller than me. So I'm somewhat tall, but like the average height, 6'7". Yes, I can become faster. I can become stronger. But for me to get to the NBA, if I wanted to put in that time, it would be me training, you know, like 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And would I enjoy that? Probably not. You know,
not necessarily. Yeah,
like just for something that I love. I still play basketball, and it's that like I think like I play it here and there, and I think I enjoy it. And you know what? It's like not everything that you enjoy has to become the thing you achieve. I think it's like if you love surfing, for example, this is an example I heard. You don't have to turn it into your career. You don't have to like be something that you make money from. It can just be something that you enjoy. You know?
I think it like goes back to that point as well. It's like just like do what you enjoy. You know, if you just want to do it as a hobby, like you don't have to find the competitive side of it, you know, you don't have to be pushed into it, like you're like, I want to be better at it. Sure, you can go for it, but you know, it's like if you don't want to do it, then don't. Like it's just like kind of that decision you have to make.
Yeah, and I guess like if it's something you enjoy, you'll do it more and you get better at it. Like over time I got better at basketball because I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed going to training, but I knew I would not enjoy training 12 hours a day. yeah,
exactly. I mean, I guess like to that level of like competitive anyway, like you're gonna have to be like, you have to keep up with the competition effectively.
And that's being realistic with stuff, you know. Like,
I guess like I'm just trying to think where that like know your limit stems from, and I think this kind of links into my other point. I don't know if you want to give yours first, but
go for it. Well, I'll go 2 points after that.
Yeah, and it kind of just links into. So the reason I say know your limits is because I've mentioned this on here a couple of times, I think, but after during the first year is where I had like my burnout, as I mentioned before, and was at that point where I realized like, okay, I definitely have a limit. Like my ambition was like way too high, and it ended up causing me to like detriment a lot of like my mental and physical health, basically, you know. It was really bad. Like I had to go to the doctors. Kind of bad. I
remember you talking about
so like, you know, it's like it's good to be ambitious, but I need to be realistic. It's like you can't do everything, Luke, basically. It's like because I was trying to, at the time, I'd like my whole degree going on, you know, I was still trying to look after myself, learning how to be a human at uni, because I've just, you know, I've been living with my parents my whole life. I had like the project on the side, and I was also like trying to plan a trip to California, having not, you know, traveled anywhere or had any experience booking flights or anything. You know, it's very stressful. It's like a lot, and it ended up causing me to, you know, I think having everyone else around me, like working as well, it was like I'm not doing enough. You know, and it's like, and I think the reason that because I was working so hard, it was also causing me to procrastinate more and just making the situation worse, because it's like I'm trying to recover, but in very unproductive ways, rather than just tackling the source. I'm just like trying to like just sustain the problem, basically. Does that make sense? So that's the reason I bring it up. And my next point is basically just like, it's to just not understate mental health as a whole, because I think it's incredibly easy to neglect, especially as a uni student, because I think that the environment encourages, I don't want to say encourages, because I know the unis have like, they provide like an absolute like incredible amount of support, but you know, with how stressful it is and the course is intense, it's like I think it does to some extent encourage like really detrimental behaviors, like staying up till 4 a.m. in the library. You know, it's like, it's great, sure, you want to be productive, but is it really good for you? You know? So that's the reason I mention it. I think, especially just outside of like the university sphere as a whole, or just academics, it's like, I think mental health, especially in men, is a massive issue. Just because there's like that toxic masculinity, right, where it's like, it's just man up, just deal with it. And I think that's like so wrong, and it shouldn't be something that we instill in people, you know. And it's like, just because a guy is suffering from something, you know, it doesn't mean that it's just like brush it off. It is just as serious, you know. That's just a big thing for me.
It doesn't make us weak, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, it's honestly, I would respect someone a lot more if they were to just be honest and say that they're struggling. And, you know, it's like, it's kind of ironic coming from me, because I've always been that person that does just like hide these kind of things, and it's why I burnt out in the first place. It's like, you know, I'm not going to tell anyone about this, I'm just going to deal with it. And it's only once I started speaking to people, once things actually started to get better, you know. So it's just one of those things that I want to like emphasize as well. And, you know, I've posted quite a few things on Instagram, on stories, about this kind of thing, because there were 2 streamers on Twitch who both ended up committing suicide that I used to watch like a lot, because of like, I don't know, just keeping things quiet. You know, they just didn't tell anyone that they were struggling, and it's just like boom, out of nowhere. It's just like, you know, it makes you question a lot of things, like where was the family and friends, but you know, you can't really blame anyone. It's like, it just seems like you can't just yell at those people. It's like the bigger issue as of a whole, of just like, you know, men being taught to hide their feelings.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like if you just like start a conversation, just like telling someone, just like, they can just be so beneficial for us. And like just doing small things like journaling is also how we process things. Like say I'm like, whatever's going on, like to do with like mental health or whatever. That writing that down has helped me process it. Speaking to people has helped me process it. There are lots of things that we can do. Meditation has been awesome for me. Like, you know what, I don't know, I think I wrote to mention this here, but in the last, I started using Headspace, the app for meditation.
I've used that a couple of times. It's amazing. I love Headspace.
Yeah, it's really good. I started using I remember when I started uni probably around September 2019, and I was looking at it earlier the other day, and it's like it accumulated about 10 hours of meditation.
Wow.
And I was awesome. Like, whoa, like I didn't realise I use it that much, and I have not.
They're quite short sessions as well, like 5-10 minutes usually, right?
Yeah. You can choose like between different durations as well, which is nice. Like sometimes you can do like, depending on which like level it is, you can choose from 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of them are like 10, 20, 15, 20, and.
So it's we have some fireworks happening outside right now, so apologies for the
noise,
crackling,
and yeah, just seeing that accumulative. Time, I was like, okay, maybe I haven't realised it. I wouldn't have realised it starting it, but looking back, it's probably helped me with mental health, like just meditating.
Yeah, it's just like highlighting the things you can do. I think is really important.
And I think 100% with things like this is like, I'm not in a position to say I know a lot about mental health and well-being, but like we're not professionals. We don't know a lot about it, and 100% like disclaimer about that. But like, I think just talking about this kind of stuff, if we're experiencing it, can be really helpful, you know.
Yeah, no, I think just the main thing is just to make sure you do talk about it, because you know things do, as I said, like keeping things quiet, they fester. Not tackling problems, they fester. And get worse. So it's better to tackle it, like, and just be open about it. Like, no one's gonna think you're weak, and if they do, they're just a terrible person, to be honest. You know, it's like, why would you know, laugh at someone or call them like pathetic for being honest about how they feel?
Exactly.
Especially in men, I think there's like just a big like thing, like I guess it's just toxic masculinity. It is literally just that. So, you know, just wanted to highlight that as my last point, because it's definitely something that I have learned a lot more, you know, because being at uni, the pressure does exponentially go up in terms of like, I think as every like year, because every year of like study becomes more important, so it becomes more like, it becomes easier for these like mental health problems to start to arise and like, you know, begin and like take shape, and the longer you let them grow, the worse it gets.
Yeah, and like currently I think universities have probably the best they've ever had with like mental health help. Like they're always promoting it, like they have these like mental health professionals that you can speak to, and like, I know they have at my university, and I'm sure other places have it as well, and like there's probably loads of stuff out there, but the reason they're there is because they're there to help you. So
no, I'm not like understating the unis at all. Like, I think they're doing great. It's just more like on the individual level. Like, you know, it's like the unis don't know someone's suffering until they say.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So it's just reaching out. It's like, just best thing you can do. There's people do care. I think the biggest thing for me is it's just like you don't want to burden anyone with your problems. You don't want to like say anything to anyone because you just like, I'm going to be a pain. I don't want to like worry you with like my stuff. But you know, it just goes back to that thing like good friends will do the same back.
Yeah.
Like if they help you, you'll know like you'll help them as well later down the line if they need it. You know. So
yeah, because like family and friends care about.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Like,
yeah. It's just bad to get into that mindset. But yeah.
Okay, so is that all your points then?
I think I might have underestimated one. Let me see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9.
Okay, cool. So we said I'll count one of my previous points as yours, as we said. So let's go on to my next one, which is a little bit of cheating on our part, but you know, it's right. Long episode.
It's been a while. It's honestly it's my bad for miscounting my point.
So okay, my point is point 8. So my point is explore and try new things and put in some effort. We can't really know what something is like until we actually try it. So for example, I didn't really know I liked photography until I went the process of like taking and editing photos a certain amount of times. Like this is something I'm still working on, like trying new things, and so I can like figure out stuff I want to do or like because I think like passion, we don't know what passion is until we try it. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like we have to take action to see if we actually enjoy it. So this lesson I say is for both my past and my future self is to like just try new stuff.
I think we've already brought this up already.
We probably have.
Yeah, I think we have.
And I recently made a list of like I started making a list of 100 things I want to try. Just
wow.
Like, yeah.
Did you do it? Did you get 100?
I'm still working through it. I've done like one maybe, but like the point is like over the next like certain amount of time, I want to like work through this, just try new stuff. Like I have, I don't know. One example is like make a song. I don't know. It's just like something random that I thought of. It's like, it's just something I think. Well, this is these things that we can try. Like there's new skills or new creation that I can create. It's like, let me just try it. I might enjoy it, might be good at it, might want to do some more of it, but maybe I won't want to do any more, and then I'll just go on to the next thing. It's like, I think it's just, they always say that like, I've got two sides to this point of view, but they say if you want to do really good at something, you need to focus a lot on it. But like, I think it's also more enjoyable to have lots of interests and be able to do other stuff.
Yeah. It's like it's definitely like because you have to try things in order to realize if you like them or not. Like it's like I guess there's a lot of like paranoia behind when you start new things because it's like so new, you haven't done it before. So I mean, having a friend that does it to introduce you to it can be nice, you know. But yeah, I guess in order to find your passion, you have to at least try it.
Yeah,
you know? Like
exactly.
actually go to the sessions or whatever you're trying to do. And I guess it's like maybe making a bucket list is a good way. Like I guess like 100 things you want to do, or maybe just do 100 things you want to do before you die.
100%. There was this YouTube video by Matt Diavella that talked about 100 things you want to do before you die, and there was this guy. There's the guy that he interviewed, and it was like him and a few friends who went on a road trip around, I don't know, the world or America or whatever, and they just like they made a bucket list of 100 things, and they were just ticking it off as they were
doing it as they were going. Damn, yeah.
And they were helping other people with their bucket list. And they were helping them, and like, oh, I know this person. Oh, my uncle's a senator in the United States. I can get you in. You can play basketball with Barack Obama. That was one of the things they ticked off the list. Don't know if that was as specific as how they met, but they played basketball with Barack Obama. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's just so cool.
It is so cool. It's like, it just makes me think about how like just how fun, like we can have, you know. While like not everything has to be career and societal standards, like we can just like we have free will at the end of the day. Just like I always think about that. It's like there's stuff we want to try, stuff we want to do. Just like go for it. Like
within legal,
obviously,
yeah. No, I think like I think especially once you reach our age, you start to have a bit more of appreciation for the time you have left. I think I definitely have anyway. Like, because, you know, being a lot younger and now reaching 21, it's like, 21 is a big year. And you kind of know it's coming when you're younger, but you never really expect it to hit. And then once it does, it's like, wow, did I really, from the first time I thought about when I was going to be 21, am I really where I expected myself to be, and did I do the things I wanted to do in that time? Because, you know, at some point life does take over, and I think being at uni is a good chance to, you know, start to do those things that you might not be able to do. Like, for example, I've booked to go to Vienna, to go to a big Super Smash Bros. Ultimate tournament with my friends, and it's kind of ticking two things off for me. Is like actually get into like a big part of the community and meet some famous people that play the game, and also just see the world, you know, travel a bit, because they're two things that like I know I'm never going to get around to do. There's a lot of hassle that goes into booking flights that I figured out and getting myself there, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it's like if I don't do it now, I don't think I'm ever going to do it.
100%.
You know?
Like, I'm going to link this to my point, another point that I have, so I'm going to move on to this. It's like, it links perfectly to what you're talking about, and it's like,
all right,
this was one of my last points, but it's fine if I talk about it now. So it's 20 years from now, this is a quote from Mark Twain, and it's 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than the ones that you did.
I remember, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that one before, actually.
I think I have, yeah. I actually remember mentioning this in a short film that I made.
Oh, cool.
And
maybe that's where I recognise it from.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and it's 100% so true. It's like the trip that you're going on is like, in 20 years, like you probably think, oh, why didn't I do it? But you're doing it. You know?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, just doing that thing is like, it's like, if you, like I remember you saying earlier, it's like, if I don't do it now, when am I ever going to do it? You know?
Yeah, and I think it's good to get in that mindset, because, you know, I know I have uni and I have work to do, but it's like, you know, I don't really care if I sacrifice a bit of my uni time just so I can actually do this while like the opportunity's here, because I don't think I'm ever going to get an opportunity to go to like such a specific event with like such a big group of people that are still interested in the same thing, you know? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's just one of those things. I can't really recall any specific moments from when I was younger where I was like, God, I wish I did that, or I really wish I did that, because when you're younger, it's like a lot of your time and responsibility is on your parents, you know, and what you do is directed by your parents. Like, they'll give you permission to do so and so, right? So it's a lot different. But once you're at uni, once you learn to drive, it's like the whole world opens up to you, and at that point, that's when you start to recognize, like, oh God, if I don't go to do this, you know, I'm probably gonna regret it. You know. Yeah. And I guess it's like the same thing as well. Like, you know, with maybe even like relationships. You know, it's like if you don't tell the person you like them, how are you gonna find out? And you'll probably regret not mentioning it more 100%. Than you would. You know, stuff like that. And even with friends, anything. You know. Yeah.
Like if you don't ask someone out, they can never say yes. So.
Exactly. So you can just apologise afterwards, right? If it goes wrong.
Yeah. And so I'll just see if there's anything else that I wanted to say about this point. Yeah, that's about it. It's just like, yeah, that was about it. Oh yeah, this is the point I was going to say about the 3-2-1 thing that I mentioned in the first part. But like, if there's something that you're not sure about doing, like something small, like starting a conversation, just like 3-2-1, go and do it. And,
yeah, 100%. Awesome.
Okay, cool. So one more point, and I think we kind of touched on it as well. It's kind of weird how everything's linking together, but
it is. It is. Honestly, I did not expect our points to like cross over this much. Yeah, like it is right. Kind of bizarre.
Yeah, and so my last one is thinking long term. Like, we often think how, like, is this thing going to benefit me now or like in the very near future?
Oh, like the fabled, what will you be doing 5 years from now?
Yeah, exactly.
Question.
And I don't like thinking 5 years in the future, to be fair. Like,
yeah.
Like, who knows what's going to happen by then? It's a long time ago. It's like 5 years is a long time. And so I would tell my past self to just remember to think more long term and remember things are not going to happen overnight. Like, you hear it again and again, think like no one's an overnight success, right? But just remember that. And like, so an example, right, that I want to highlight is that my YouTube channel, I started it in 2017, 2018. And like a lot of my videos that I made back then, I took down because, like, you know, they weren't the best, and
you were just getting into the whole sphere, right?
Yeah, so I was just figuring out what I wanted to make stuff about, right? And it didn't grow that quickly, and it's still quite small. It's like still under 1,000 subscribers, but
I wouldn't consider that small, to be honest. I think that's fantastic, personally.
Thank you.
Because I have exactly 0 subscribers on my YouTube. So
yeah. Oh, thanks.
No, genuinely.
Yeah, and I think if I thought long term about the YouTube channel, it might have gone a bit differently, or it might have made more content, or it might have been grown bigger. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, it is where it is now. But doing that led me to get my placement that I'm working now. And like, when my manager introduced me to everyone, he was like, "Hi, this is Alexandro. He's a business student, and he has a YouTube channel and a podcast on the side." So that obviously, and he told me in my interview that he saw my YouTube channel. Like, he checked it out. I was like, "Oh, nice video, the nice magic and cardistry video that he saw." He was like, "Oh, that was really cool." It was like, "Oh, you're pretty good in that with the tricks."
Yeah,
like,
awesome.
Like, if you told me 3-4 years ago when I started that, it would have led me to getting into something. like getting a job or whatever, or getting a placement, I wouldn't have thought of that, because it's like, oh well, this effort that I was putting into something, like it's not traditional standards to say, oh, get a job, whatever, like go work in the restaurant or the supermarket, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, right? Like I've worked jobs as well, but it's like doing something outside of the box. If you have that ability, if you have that opportunity, like I'm standing from a point where I had that ability to put that time into the YouTube channel, I'm 100% grateful for that. Like some people don't have that ability, so I am like so thankful for that. But that led me to getting that job that I have now, right? And like, because we pick up skills, and even if something doesn't grow, and we like, so we want to build something and it doesn't work, we've learned skills along the way and we can utilize that. Like, so like I've learned a lot about filmmaking, I've learned a lot about photography, editing, marketing, like all these things through doing these different projects I've learned, and they turn into transferable skills that can be used for other things.
Yeah, I can't believe that your like just that one YouTube video has been like made such an impact on your like getting your internship. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it was probably the cumulative of all the videos, and
yeah, I guess so.
Like,
yeah,
we actually at work we were talking about they want to start a podcast.
Wow,
so
awesome! You'll be the top man for that. There you go.
So obviously I'll be able to like work on the behind the scenes of that with experience of the stuff that we've done together as well. So it's like kind of showing how when we started this, I would have no clue that would be happening, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I guess it's just like thinking long term, right? You don't really think about these kind of things.
You don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like again, like thinking long term, I guess kind of helps build that determination as well. Because like I mean, especially imagine someone's about to start like I don't know, start their PhD or start a degree in medicine. Like, that's a big commitment. That's like 6 years of your life. That's you've basically just assigned like a big block of your life. Like is like now, boom, you're going to be doing this degree. So you wouldn't. If you weren't thinking long term at all, like I could be a doctor, I'm going to do this, you would not start a 6-year program at all. Yeah. No way, not a chance. So, yeah, I think thinking long term in that sense is definitely like ideal, and it also helps build determination. Because again, like if you go to the gym, like you can't expect to see results after the first day. Exactly. It's like one of those things that you see gradually, and then when you start seeing results, it just starts to build, and you get more momentum. But you're like, oh, you start seeing progress. Now I'm going to keep going. So. Yeah, I'd say thinking long term is probably a big determinant of determination.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay, so that's all my points. I think
here we are.
We got 1 point left where we were going to choose together.
Yeah,
we didn't decide that, so I'm going to chuck one out in the air. Tell me what you think of it.
Let's go for it.
I kind of just mentioned it, but I want to mention it again.
Go for it.
No, it's gratitude. Like,
gratitude.
Just being grateful for like the things that we have in life. Just the simple things that we have, the people we're around, whatever it is, just being grateful for the opportunity that we have to do whatever it is, to be able to live the life that we have. Like, really think, like things aren't bad at all. Like, I have a comfortable situation and I want to just remember to be grateful for that, Damn,
I wasn't expecting this to take such a wholesome turn at the end, but no, I think I definitely can agree that just being grateful can also lead to being a lot more happy, I think, because even in the worst situations there are like positives. It's like, I mean, I could probably go on like a massive list of things I'm grateful for, and then at the end of it I'd probably be like, wow, even though I think I might be struggling or things are bad, it's actually not. If I've had a bad day, maybe just listing out things that I'm grateful for, like I've got an amazing group of friends I can go home and talk to, and I'll feel a lot better after I talk to them. That's what I'm grateful for, because maybe people don't have that.
Yeah.
So I would definitely agree. I think that's a good point. Just be grateful and be polite. Yeah. Be grateful for people. Tell your friends you appreciate them for you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Awesome. Here we are, 21 points later, and however many hours.
So,
this has been going on for.
So great episode.
Yeah, this was great. I think this was a great topic.
Yeah, and I think I'm really happy we did this one. I'm trying to remember when I came up with the idea, but I just remember messaging you as soon as I had the idea.
Yeah, and I was just like, I remember reading it, I was like, wow, I wish I had that creativity, and there you go.
Yeah, well look, you came up with the ideas, so that's 100% creativity, and we both came up with them, 10 points each, plus the bonus one at the end, so that's 21. Life lessons for our past selves, part 2, this is part 2.
I'd like to see a list, I want to see a list of them all, laid out, so we can
write
be like 20 points to like strive to be better. That's what I want to have them as. It's going to be like, I'm going to put them up and pin them on like a post-it note on my wall. Yeah. Damn it, am I doing that today?
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, thanks a lot for listening, everyone.
Yeah, this has been a long one, so if you're here at the end, then
100% appreciate you and grateful for it.
We are very grateful for everyone listening, and we hope you've learned a lot, because I've also learned 10 amazing, or actually 11 amazing
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
No, 12 because you did one for
yeah.
me from Alex. So
Yeah.
yeah, this has been great for me as well.
Same on
Had a
your
good
part.
time.
Like you said some great points, and I want to read over them as well. So that's
Yeah, awesome.
really
We'll
interesting.
we'll collude this into the show notes
Yeah.
and have that available for
Yeah.
people to see
Okay.
with timestamps, of
Yeah,
course.
obviously. Okay, all right. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, comment, all depending on what platform you're on. All that algorithm-friendly stuff.
Yeah, and share with a friend because I'm sure there's people out there that will benefit at least from one of our points. I mean, there's 21 points.
Yeah.
I'm sure at least one will apply.
Yeah,
You know, because no one's perfect, unfortunately.
exactly. Neither are we. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could go. Maybe our next one will be 10 things that we need to improve. On, but that
Yeah.
would be pretty depressing episode.
Yeah.
I think maybe not.
Well, we try to keep to the positive.
Yeah, we'll stick positive. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks a lot for listening, everyone. 100% really enjoyed this one. So thanks a lot for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Yeah. In the next one.